Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and I hope you got to enjoy some of that beautiful weather on Saturday. So today we're going to work on Module 12, Lesson 1, Tell and Write Time to the Nearest Minute. If you open your books to page 327, you can follow along with me. The I Can objective reads, I can tell and write time to the nearest minute. So last week, boys and girls, we finished up with fractions, and now we're going to start with measuring time. And before we get into our lesson, boys and girls, let's review a few things that we already know about time. So on the computer, we have a picture of a face of a clock. What do you notice that is missing? Well, we're missing a long hand on our clock, and we're missing a short hand. Now, the long hand on our clock tells the minutes, and the shorthand points to the hours. Now, if we look at our clock, we see large numbers. We see a 1, a 2, and if we continue to count, we count all the way and we end at 12. Those numbers are the hours of the day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we use the letters AM and PM to say if it's during the day or at nighttime, because there's 24 hours in one day. So the hour hand goes around the face of a clock 2 times in one day. And then the long hand points to the minutes. Now, when we're counting minutes, we're counting these individual marks on the clock. And each group, each jump from hour to hour or from number to number is 5 minutes. So if we were to count all the way around the clock, let's see how many minutes are in 1 hour. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Look at that. It looks like I made it halfway around. If halfway around the clock is 30 minutes, how many minutes do you think are in the other half? That's right, 30. So 30 plus 30 is 60, so there should be 60 minutes in 1 hour. So 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So the long hand is going to point to the minutes, and it's going to count, if it counts all the way around, if it does one full turn, it counts 60 minutes. Each one of these is 1 minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I could keep numbering all those little tick marks on the clock, and I would get to 60. So now let's erase our clock. Okay. And let's take a look. Boys and girls, our clock moves in a manner that's called clockwise. And clockwise is if you have the hour hand up top, it's going to move to the right, and so will the minute hand. Okay, so telling time. Step 1, the hour hand, which you notice is the small hand on the clock, the pink hand. Look at the small clock hand. Look at the last number the hour hand has passed. Do not pass the hour hand. So right now, the pink hand is in between the 2 and the 3. It has not reached the 3 yet, so the hour hand is still pointing to the 2. Now let's take a look at the minute hand. And now this time the minute hand is in pink. And remember, we want to count by 5s. So if we start up here and we count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So the minute hand is pointing to 25 minutes. The hour hand is pointing to the 2. The minute hand is pointing to 25. So the time is 2:25. Okay. I'm going to give you an example or two just so that we can go over it. Okay, boys and girls, whenever it is an hour with no minutes, so 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the minute hand is going to point exactly to the 12, and the hour hand is going to point to whichever number the hour is. So let's say 2 o'clock. Okay, my long hand, my minute hand is pointing to the 12, and my hour hand is pointing to the 2. So the time is 2 o'clock. Now something happens to the hour hand as the minute hand moves. So now let's say it is 2:30. My minute hand is going to point to the 6 because that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then my hour hand, even if it's 2:30, my hour hand is no longer going to point to the 2 like it did before. It's actually going to move. And it's now going to point in between the 2 and the 3. So even though the hour is still 2, my hour hand is moving. As a matter of fact, boys and girls, the closer that the minute hand gets to the next hour, the closer the hour hand points to the next hour. So at 2:55, the hour hand is actually going to look like it's almost pointing to the 3. And boys and girls, this is a very big misconception. A lot of times children look at this, and since the hour hand looks like it's so close to the 3, boys and girls will say, oh, it's 3:55. Okay, but what we want to look at is what two numbers the hour hand is between. The hour hand is between the 2 and the 3. Since it has not reached 3 o'clock yet, it's almost there. Okay, the time is 2:55. And I know that it's 55 because if I count my minutes by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, I know that my minute hand is pointing to 55. Now let's take a look at the Step It Out. Liz looks at the digital clock during a tour of the post office. What time does the clock show? Let's think about it. 1:47. The hour is 1 o'clock. The minutes is 47. Okay. Show the time on the analog clock. So let's start with the minutes first. After you get used to it, boys and girls, you'll know that my number 6 is 30 minutes. My 3 is 15 minutes. And my 9 is 45 minutes. This will give you an easy way to not have to count the minutes from the beginning all the way from the beginning. Okay, and up top is 0 minutes. So if we want 47 minutes, the closest one would be the 9, which is 45 minutes. So in order to get exact, I want to point 2 minutes after 45. So this is 45. So 1, 2. So my minute hand is going to point to 47. And my minute hand is longer because we have to be more precise. So since the minute hand is longer, it's easier to tell the exact minute, time to the exact minute. And now we want our hour hand. Our hour hand should be pointing to 1. But it's not going to be pointing exactly to the 1 because we're this far away from it being 2 o'clock. So my hour hand is actually between the 1 and the 2, and it's going to be closer to the 2. It's going to be right in between. So write the hour. The hour is 1. How many minutes after the hour does the minute hand show? Count by 5s and then by 1s. So we went up to the 9, which was 45 minutes, and then we counted 2 more. So it's 47 minutes after 1. How many minutes before the hour does the minute hand show? Count by 5s and then by 1s in the opposite direction. So now they want to know, how much time is it till the next hour? So how much time is it until you reach 2 o'clock? And they're asking us to count backwards, so let's go with a different color and let's see. Well, it's 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's 13 minutes to the next hour. So the way we would write that is we would say 13 minutes before, what's the next hour? 2. So there's a few ways that you could read this time, boys and girls. You can say it is 1:47. You can say it's 47 minutes after 1. Or you can say it's 13 minutes before 2. Okay, let's look at the build understanding. Jose sees the clock when his class arrives at the fire department for a field trip. Find the time shown on the clock. So let's take a look at the clock that's over here. What does the hour hand show you? And it says, think, between what 2 numbers is the hour hand pointing? Well, the hour hand is between the 9 and the 10. Since it has not reached the 10 yet, I know that the hour hand is 9. Now, how can you count the minutes on the clock? Well, we're going to count by 5s until we can't anymore, and then we count by 1s. So how many times can we count by 5s? Well, let's see. I can count 5, 10, but I can't count again because if I did, I would be at 15 and I would have passed the minute hand. So I can count 2 times by 5. So 5, 10, and now I'm going to count by 1s. 11, 12, 13, 14. So it shows me 14 minutes. The minute hand shows me 14 minutes. And we counted by 5s and then by 1s. So what time does the clock show? Well, the hour hand shows 9. And the minute hand shows 14. So the time is 9:14. What numbers can you write on the digital clock to show the time till the class arrives? Well, we're going to go ahead and write our hour and our colon and 14. So the time is 9:14. What are 2 ways you can read the time? Well, we can read it 9:14, just the way we wrote it on our digital clock. Or blank minutes after blank. How many minutes after which hour? So it's 14 minutes after 9. And if we look at our vocabulary, it says, a minute is a unit used to measure short amounts of time. In 1 minute, the minute hand moves from one mark to the next on an analog clock. Okay, boys and girls, now it's your turn. You're going to complete these 4 problems on your own. When you pause your video, you can actually leave it paused and on so that you can see the little anchor chart on the right to help you out, to remind you with the hour hand and the minute hand. You can also go back into your book, into the lesson, to look back if you get confused. So pause the video, complete that on your own, and when you're ready, come back so we can review it. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back. Let's see how you did. So number 2, Mitch says the clock shows that the time is 9:46. Explain why you agree or disagree with Mitch. Okay, so boys and girls, when I first look at it, I know that this is my hour hand, right? And I know that this is my minute hand here, the long one. When I look at my hour hand is really close to the 10. But remember, it hasn't passed the 10. So even though it's almost 10 o'clock, we're not there yet. So I know that the time is 9. And now let's look at the minutes. And we're going to count by fives. But since I know that right here is 30 minutes, I'm going to use that and count on from there. So 30, 35, 40, and then I can't count another group of 5 because there's only one more minute. So 41. So I think the time is 9:41. So let's look at what Mitch said. Mitch said that the clock shows 9:46. So I disagree with him. And the mistake that he made, he's off in the minutes by 5 minutes. So 9:46 would actually be right here. Okay, so if the minute hand was pointing to where the green mark is, then I would agree that it was 9:46. Number 3, show the time 4:52 on the clock. Then write the time as after the hour and before the hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start with the minutes. 52 minutes. I know that 52 minutes is almost 60. So I'm going to be really close to like the 12. So let's see, this is 30. This is 45. So I'm going to start with my 45 and I'm going to count on until I get to 52. So 45, 50, 51, 52. So my minute hand needs to point to that minute somewhere in between the 10 and the 11. And now with a shorthand, we want to show 4:52, so the hour 4. I'm not going to point my hour hand exactly to the 4 because I know that 4:52 is almost 5 o'clock. So I'm going to make sure that my hour hand points almost to the 5 o'clock. And the way we write it in 2 different ways, it is 52 minutes after 4. And how far away is it from the next hour, which is 5? Well, we know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, and I'm at 52. So it's 8 minutes before 5. And the last 2, write the time shown on the clock. Then write the time as after the hour or before the hour. Well, let's see. This one, number 4, we know that the hour hand is between 7 and 8. So the hour is 7. And the minutes, I know that this is 45. So now I can go from here and count on. 45, 50, 55, and now I have to count individual minutes. 56, 57, 58. So the time is 7:58. And you can either say it is 58 minutes after 7, or it's 2 minutes before 8. In 2 minutes, it will be 8 o'clock. And number 5. Okay, the hour hand is between 5 and 6. So the hour is 5. And the minutes, well, let's see, 5. And then we have 6, 7. So 5 with 7 minutes. This is a common misconception, boys and girls. 5, 7. We need another digit in there to show that it is just 7 minutes. So we need a number in the tens place. So if there's no tens, we're going to use a 0. So the time is 5:07. And for this one, I would say it is 7 minutes after 5. Okay, boys and girls, it's your turn. So today's activity is not an AirPod activity, but instead you have an iReady activity, boys and girls. You have to complete the teacher-assigned lesson called Tell and Write Time. Now, I know many of you have been going on iReady for the contest, and that's wonderful, but you do need to complete this lesson for today's activity. The time that you spend on this lesson and the completed lesson will count towards the contest, but I do need you to complete the lesson called Tell and Write Time. Okay. Once you're done with that lesson, you can go on to other ones, but please complete this one first. Tell and Write Time. All right, boys and girls, have a good day. Please reach out to me if you need me. You can email me, call me, text me. You know the drill, okay? Have a great day.